Hi everyone, welcome to Adventures in AI. I'm Dr. Linda Bradford. We have a new podcast for you that's going to help you connect the dots between you and AI. We have so many great guests already lined up for you, experts in their field, and they're going to give you tools that you'll really appreciate and be able to use in your life. To kick it off, we have my husband, David Bradford, and he'll be telling you lots of fun stories and things about business experience that will really be important and how AI has helped him in business and in education. Well, let's jump in. David, it's so great that you're here with us today. It's kind of a unique thing for a husband and wife to be able to share this and talk a little bit about what's important to us in education and share that with our audience. Let's get started. David, what caused you to go into the EdTech space? How did you get inspired to do that?
Well, you were a big inspiration to me, but before that, I'd been in the world of technology for, nearly 40 years. Ran a series of tech companies, et cetera. As you mentioned earlier, got inducted in the Tech Hall of Fame for my work at Fusion.io, Novell, HireVue, et cetera. And those were all great. But now, as I go to my next stage of life, we have an opportunity to have a major impact on the youth of the world. And so our mantra is to elevate the lives of people around the globe through technology-empowered educational tools. And so I've been inspired by you and others who are trying to make a real change in education.
Right. And I think when you talk about education and lifting the world, that's where we should start, is with education. What advice would you give a startup that's wanting to go into the EdTech space?
That's a great question, Linda. I think pain points to me are an absolute essential thing that every entrepreneur needs to think about. I remember some years ago, I was in a track meet and I was sprinting down. I was going to break the national long jump record. And, I had these visions of really taking off in my mind. And I remember hitting the plank. And as I started to soar into the air to land in that sand pit, my right hamstring snapped. And it was so painful. I'm flying through the air. And all I can think of, Linda, at the time was, if I had $1 million right now, I'd give it to someone to take away that pain.
Right. I remember that day.
You're right. It was not a fun day, and I hobbled back and so forth. But the idea is find a pain point. As an entrepreneur, people will pay $1 million, or $10, whatever the amount is, to have that pain point removed. They'll get their checkbook out and write a check to have their pain removed, to improve the lives of the children and people with whom they're dealing. So find that pain point and you're going to be successful.
That's awesome. Thank you. David, what pain point are you trying to solve in education?
Well, that's a great question. I guess I've seen technology move from the days of the mainframe to the super mini computer to the PC into the days of the internet age in the 90s. And so forth. And then there was the metaverse age in the early 2000s. And now artificial intelligence has exploded on the big screen, if you will. And we have an opportunity now to use AI for something good. I remember back in the days of the internet, everybody was scared. Horrible things are going to happen. People can put stuff out there that'll be seen that is inappropriate and bad, et cetera, et cetera. Well, people are worried about the same thing, and reasonably so, about AI. But I think the good people of the earth, you for one, for example, can find a way to elevate the lives of kids using artificial intelligence and use it for something good.
Absolutely. Harnessing AI is really what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Finding that really unique connection between historical characters and today. Yeah. Being able to help kids relate to that. And it's easy to do now with AI. So
I love the fact that in our platform, you can go back in time and meet with Leonardo da Vinci and have a discussion with him and ask him about the painting stroke he used on the Mona Lisa or the Last Supper, or go back and talk to Albert Einstein about physics and black holes and get real answers and accurate answers through safe AI.
Right. I know we worked with a school district in Duval County, and those 141 students were so excited to be able to use that platform. And when it came to their test scores, they soared.
Right.
And these are kids that would never have had the chance to have a tutor come to their home. They used their smartphone as their tutor, and that really launched them as far as their confidence in being able to learn and enjoy learning.
Yeah, those state test scores, when they jumped 12 points year over year, it was a unicorn improvement that they'd never seen in the school district.
So how do you see the role of AI in education and in schools?
Teachers are stressed out of their minds. They're paid very low wages, et cetera, et cetera. There are solutions out there that allow teachers to have less stress and far more success.
Exactly.
That's what they're all striving for. They want to have an impact on the kids' lives. Now, using AI, they're going to be able to augment the teaching they do during the day in the classroom. Imagine kids going home and having a discussion with a tutor in an immersive 3D world. Go back and meet with Cleopatra at the pyramids and have a discussion about Egyptology. And so that's what AI enables you to do. Now, you want to make it safe. You want it to be constrained. You don't want people to go off the rails. And so guardrails are built in. And it's really important to recognize that.
Experiential learning is memorable learning. And
Yeah.
so that's exactly what AI is helping us to do. is to make it an
Generative AI
experience.
gives you engaged learning for better learning. The longer someone's engaged in a process,
Right.
be it math problem, a science problem, studying photosynthesis, whatever it might be, if they're engaged in an immersive environment, they're going to hang in there and they're going to learn more.
Right. And having conversations with these AI characters, that's really almost, we talk about having the students being able to engage all their senses. Well, I truly believe that the new sense is conversation, because that really will
Yeah.
keep them engaged, being able to talk to these historical characters. How can AI help bridge the global gap between business and education?
You know, I envision a world where that young lady walking through the jungles of Guatemala, or that young man walking or hiking through the mountains of Peru, where if they have a smartphone
Right.
and they have access, they can have the best tutors in the world. They can have access to the highest quality of education. And with those AI-driven tutors, we're able to bridge that digital divide we're all so worried about. It exists. It's a frightening thing. But utilizing artificial intelligence, satellite technology, and all these new wave technologies, we're going to be able to democratize education across the globe.
And that's really our goal.
Yeah.
That has always been our goal for the last many years. So
Yeah.
AI is really helping us now to realize that.
Yeah, elevating the lives of people around the globe through AI-empowered educational tools.
Right. And having that quality of education, I think that's what's key. You know, we're able to create courses that are so accurate and so targeted that kids are going to be learning with this adaptive type of method.
And I might add, listen, we're not trying to displace teachers. Teachers are always going to be needed for that personal interaction, that look and the feel and the sense of, you know, what people are feeling and the emotional IQ and so forth. That's absolutely essential to have teachers. All we want to do is augment their teaching capabilities so that they can have less stress and far more success, as that teacher in Florida has mentioned to us many times.
Right. And to unburden them. They work very, very hard.
Yeah.
And we want them to be able to have a little bit of a break and be able to be more effective.
You know, there's a story some years ago. I was fortunate to source and hire Steve Wozniak to work for me,
Right.
the inventor of the Apple computer. And Steve once told you and I a story about growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area and his taking classes and studying and so forth. And he was really discouraged as a young third grader.
Yeah.
He was made fun of in school and this, that, and the other, and he just wasn't having a good experience and didn't feel like he was learning anything. But he did take a math contest. And after that math contest, he did phenomenally well. And his teacher walked up to him and shook him and said, "Steve, you are a math genius."
I remember that. Yeah.
That was so cool when he told us that. He says, but that inspired him to stick with mathematics and think about all of the things we have today in the world of Apple because of Steve Wozniak, and go back in time. And it was that one teacher that said, "Steve, you are a math genius." It changed his life, and has changed literally 80% of the people in the world.
Exactly. And then he actually went back after Apple and taught for 8 years in the elementary school system.
Right.
I just think that was an amazing story. Well, if you had a magic wand, what one thing might you solve in the problems of education today?
We kind of get lost so much in the academics that we forget about skills and skills training. And I'm talking about hard skills and soft skills, those emotional IQ skills that young people need to have.
Right.
And I want to find a way to make that educational experience truly engaging for them, magical for them.
Right.
I remember Mrs. Moran in the 5th grade and Audrey Bailey in the 7th grade in Red Lodge, Montana, of all places. And she inspired me to be a better person and a better speller. And you always remark, I'm a pretty good speller.
He outspells me by a long shot.
Well, it's just because Audrey Bailey, that one teacher in Red Lodge, Montana, Jefferson Junior High School, just drilled in, how to spell and so forth and so on. So great teachers make a huge difference in our lives.
They really do. So as we're looking toward the future, the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see AI evolving over that time period?
Wow. I would just say to the audience, if you're not using AI every day, you're at a competitive disadvantage. It's going to make your life a lot more efficient. I was sitting on an AI panel in Salt Lake City recently, and a CEO of a sizable company up there was talking about their use of AI in their corporation. And someone asked her, well, what percentage of time are people spending using artificial intelligence?
Right.
And she said she has a command within that organization that they're using AI 70% of their working day.
Wow.
Because it makes you more efficient, makes you get results faster, etc. To be sure, you can go out into ChatGPT in general and get a real generalized answer, but prompt engineering is going to be absolutely key as we look forward over the next few years. And if you don't know what prompt engineering is, you should look it up because it's going to be an art form. Your ability to ask the right questions into an AI engine is going to make all the difference. I know I can create contracts really fast, but I have to feed the right information into the AI engine. And as I do that, and as it gets smarter, as it gets to know me better, it gets good answers.
And you touched on a little bit about having a personal learning assistant, right?
Yeah.
And so that, and we're doing this in our company too, so I'm a little familiar with it. You actually save the data and you save the history of that particular student. And so then when AI comes back again, it will come back and ask you questions that, not questions that you've already learned, but questions that you need to learn.
Yeah,
So.
that interaction is so big. There's some wonderful companies out there, Masterclass, and, they have videos, but they're video based, and you're a one-way participant in that. You're an observer.
Yes.
With immersive 3D worlds coming out and generative AI and artificial intelligence and those sorts of things, you're going to be blessed to have lots of options for better learning and more engaged learning.
Right.
And it's you as a participant, not just a mere observer.
Exactly. as we're kind of wrapping up, where can listeners start to get in touch with you if they want to talk about this a little bit more?
Sure. I love talking about education, technology of any kind. I'm looking at quantum computing now. There's so many things that are emerging, and AI has accelerated our ability to get to each one of these areas. But if people want to find me, come out, look for me on LinkedIn. I use that every day, that platform. So look for David Bradford, CEO, Tech Hall of Fame, whatever, on LinkedIn, and you can find me. And then feel free to email me at david@quiklearn.ai. David at Quiklearn, it's spelled Quik learn.ai. Leave out the C.
Yeah.
That's the spelling of Quiklearn. So,
and we want everyone's input. I mean, you're the people we want to serve, and we want to make sure that you feel like you have a voice. And so be sure to contact us and let us know what you would like to hear about, who you would like to have as a guest for us to interview here.
Yeah.
We'd really like to connect with you. So thank you so much, David, and thank you all for joining us.